Hey everybody, welcome to Forex Trading Analysis for Synergy FX. It is 9:09 p.m. on Monday, June 5th, 18th. And today we're going to be looking at a few pairs, but quick risk disclaimer. Foreign exchange trading carries a high level of risk. Before you decide to trade foreign exchange, we encourage you to consider your investment objectives, your risk tolerance, and trading experience. It is possible to lose some or all of your initial investments. Don't invest money you can't afford to lose. Seek advice from an independent financial or tax advisor, and all information provided is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as trading advice or counsel. So, over the weekend, we had Greek elections with a pretty short gap in terms of market movements. So, what that means to me is that there weren't really any surprises and that anything that happened was basically priced in. So Greek to me right now is off my radar. I'm been looking towards Spain a little bit, and as well as Portugal and Italy to determine the direction of the market. So one interesting thing that is coming out tomorrow is the it's going to be an FOMC statement for the U.S. dollar. As a as an unrelated note, we're going to see some economic projections as well for the press conference that's set to be at around 2:15 tomorrow. So we should see some pretty nice moves, especially if the FOMC does say anything about interest rates past 2014. I think that there's basically no way that they will change interest rates tomorrow. But if they do say possibly currently they have it pegged now that they'll change interest rates in 2014. But if they do say anything to make the public believe that that'll be otherwise, then we could see some pretty large moves in either direction. So be careful tomorrow for the rate statement around 12:30 p.m. So a few pairs I want to take a look at today are, first of all, some really big movers. We had the Aussie CAD move almost, well, we moved down from the highs, but from low to high we were at almost 100 pips. So huge day for the CAD. I did see a rotation down, had a nice short trade once RSI hit above 75, and we were out by the close of at least this bar. So uh, the the Aussie CAD definitely right now is in an extended uptrend. Over the past few days, we have seen rotations down from the low and at the end of May, and we've pretty much been up every single day for the entirety of June. So I think that there is possible for a correction, especially considering the fact that we are just below the 200 and 100. We are just below the 200-day moving average, and currently printing between the middle of the 200 and 100. But the 200 and 100 are sloped to the downside, and the 100 is below the 200. So that is an indication of selling for me, and I do believe that the Aussie is in for a longer term correction to the downside. So I think that the Canadian, this pair could possibly be in for a large rotation to the downside. We could possibly see all the way down to close here at 1.01591, and that'll be the first level I'll be looking for. Also, another good level to be looking at is the 100-day moving average, which is currently printing at 1.02806. So if we do see a bounce around between these levels, I do believe that the break will be to the downside, but it'll be interesting to be able to trade that bounce in either direction, because right now your risks are pretty low considering the fact that we are printing just in between the 200 and 100. But if we do start to break down, I do think that a bounce off the 200 is going to be in effect, and it'll become pretty obvious. The other thing I do like to see is a strong rotation down. We haven't closed yet, but it doesn't look like we will go back up before the end of the day. So possibly tomorrow another retest at the 200, but in the end I do believe that we will start to rotate to the downside. So those are my views on the Aussie CAD. The pound dollar, another pretty nice daily trade, revolved around the moving averages. We are just below the 200, and we have sort of started to rotate down a little bit. Pound dollar was in for a strong sell-off in the end of May, and I don't think that the sell-off is something to take lightly, and I do think that we are going to start to see a pretty nice downtrend from the pound, and I think that we could start to see possibly down to close of this bar at 1.54919, as well as the lows, the most recent lows at 1.53573. So this is a pair that I really do like right now. We are sort of inching towards 60 on the RSI. We almost hit it. And again, I do think that we could possibly, there could be room left to the upside. 200, we could possibly test the 100-day moving average, but overall I do think that we are in for a nice rotation down, and I think the euro weakness is gonna begin to happen again over the next few months, and the pound dollar should be brought down a little bit by that. So that's what I think about the pound. The last pair I do want to take a look at, and probably one of my favorites right now, is the yen, which currently has been in an extended downtrend since around March, middle of March, and we have seen a continuation in the downside that is very indicative of more selling for the yen. Obviously, if we throw in a longer term chart, selling the yen isn't exactly a low probability bet, and this to me is just not an indication of a bottom. Bottoms usually happen where there's an extreme load of volatility. Good examples back here. Bars are usually much larger, and people usually decide to push the market one way or another. And if the Bank of Japan doesn't decide to step in, I do think that we could see fresh lows, very fresh lows at below 75.564. So I do think we could possibly see down to 74 by the end of the quarter, and possibly even lower than that in the future. And this is, like I said, is not exactly a low probability bet. So those are the three pairs I want to take a look at. Thank you very much for watching. Please follow us during the week at Synergy FX for more updates, and good luck trading.